Rana Sangha, Maharaja Savai Jai Singh, Savai Man Singh, Amar Singh, Rana Hamir Singh have all stood for a great India, sacrificed themselves for it. So I bow my head with great respect to this land of warriors who've literally stood like a big fort in the borders of this country. Even today in the armed forces, you have a great number of people from Rajasthan who defend our country, not so much in the deserts, but also in high altitude mountains, snow-capped peaks, and even in the borders with Myanmar, the tropical jungles. So I pay my respects also to the armed forces, which is represented adequately by people from Rajasthan. Durgashtami has been referred to in the welcome address. It's Vasanta Navaratri period. We worship Shakti all right, but on the Navami day it is going to be all Ayodhya. After several decades, several centuries, Sri Ram has found a Bhavya Mandir where he should have been. Where he should have resided, and as you say in Rajasthan, Virajman in that holy, beautiful Bhavya Mandir forever, for always. But unfortunately, he hadn't had a place to be except for a tent. And that literally tugged at the heart of every Indian. And today, when he's got his due place, we all will celebrate this first Ram Navami with our Lord being in the right place. And with the Pran Pratishtha of Sri Ram, all of us can hope, and I'm sure we'll realize our dreams. The golden era of India will start. It starts with an Amrit Kal. The Viksit Bharat of 2047 hopefully will be achieved with Sabka Prayas. And in that, the intellectuals, the knowledge torchbearers of India who largely reside in Rajasthan will have a big role to play. And I'm happy to start my campaign in Rajasthan addressing the intellectuals. It is this optimism which Prime Minister Modi has brought into a country which had given up all its hopes. In 2013-14, irrespective of party affiliation, no one could hide the fact that you were not sure where we were going. Fragile five we were. Capital was getting out of the country. Not just those foreign direct investments which had come, but even our India's own businesses, big businesses, were shifting their balance sheet to outside of India than remain in India. That was 13-14. And your party loyalties couldn't have hidden this fact from you, so you didn't have to be in the opposition, as BJP was at that time, to realize that the country has come to nowhere. And that was 2013-14. But from there, in fact, one of the things which I said in the parliament, when I released the white paper on the Indian economy, 10 long years after, duly when people said you should have released it in 2013-14, why are you releasing it now? I, in all my modesty, appreciate the Honorable Prime Minister for having not released it in 2014. It's such a story that today we look back with a sense of confidence, saying it's all right, we were, fragile five. These many number of scams had happened. Scams by themselves are wrong, but each one of the scam had created a collateral damage to the economy. and shortage of coal would have resulted in 72 hours of blackout in the western part of India at that time. Or shortage of coal would have left many of the thermal producing companies, thermal producing public sector undertakings also without power, and so on. But the fact is, today we are looking back with confidence, because in the 10 years, the economy had been restored with tremendous effort, transparent effort, with not a whisper of corruption, and a complete dedication shown by the Honorable Prime Minister. So if we are at a stage where even a white paper which would have sounded, how can I put it? A white paper, if released in 2014, would have sounded only a sense of hopelessness in this country. It would have established the fear that something has gone wrong, we don't know how deep the problem is, and can we ever come out of this? That would have been the sum and substance of people reading a white paper in 2014 would have been. So reading it in 14 would have left India even further into a confusion, into hopelessness, and a disbelief that we can ever revive. So the levels of scandal, the extent of scandal, the scope and size of the scandal, all of which gave a message to the Indians that even as you were reading it in the media, it made you think, what has been so badly handled? Can it ever be restored? So releasing it 10 years afterwards, it actually tells you what it was then and what kind of effort it took for us to come back to being the fifth largest economy. Even as we say fifth largest economy, we are sure that within a few years, maybe just 1.5, 2 years, we'll reach the third largest economy's stage. So I would think it was totally responsible of Prime Minister Modi, a very responsible, caring decision of Prime Minister Modi, that he didn't release that white paper then, but released it now to say why today India is where it is, despite that negativity. Today there is no negativity, there is hope, there is positivity, there is this almost certainty in everybody's mind, ठीक है अभी हम आगे बढ़ेंगे. That is a responsible leader's decision-making power, that he did not want to expose his opponent for short-term gains, but he took a call that he will restore the economy and then yet put the facts on the table of the House. That is why the white paper came much later than when it was expected by a large number of people. Now today, the third quarter of 23-24 saw an unprecedented growth of 8.4%. Unprecedented in the world history. And why am I saying world history? I'm not comparing years, decades before, centuries before, but I'm still using the word history. Because in today's volatility, not one war, 2 wars, and yesterday probably a third war, if I may call it that. I don't wish the war, I want peace to prevail, but I'm saying a third incident of something going wrong. Disruption in high seas, pirates in the Red Sea, disruption in global high seas means your trade and traffic of goods, movement of goods are all unpredictably affected. West Asia is the source of maximum crude coming to India. Of course, we have strategically, during the COVID times and immediately after that, also started buying from Russia because it was coming at a discount. It was in our national interest to do that. We started obtaining it. So if 8.4 growth in a quarter in the year 23-24 can happen, it just shows how much Indians are waiting to grow and move faster to achieve greater goals. And if the fourth quarter is lucky and we get a good number, I'm sure we'll average out at 8 for the overall 23-24 growth. And I would think, if not at 8, it is possible to sustain a good high growth in India because the entire ground has been created for every entrepreneur to feel that this is the best time for him or her to come out and undertake responsibilities. So I do not want to reel out with the passenger vehicle sales, tractor sales to prove that economy is moving all right. It will not be moving all right if only the economy is not rightly positioned. But that one indicator which comes out every month is today used like a barometer. You're just reading the economy using that every month. And that was not a luxury which was available earlier. Now it is available post GST's introduction by this government. And after the introduction, even if the first few years they had a lot more of teething problem, today it is stabilized. Of course, there's need for us to further rationalize, further simplify the GST. But even today, it is giving us that one indicator with businesses, chartered accountants, economy observers, all will be waiting to see ye kya hone wale hain is mahina, GST collection. Are you not waiting for it every month? Yes. Every month on the first, we look forward to knowing what is the number. And once you know that the number is really on the uptick, you know the economy is doing well. Then everybody sits up saying, chalo, aur aage. So today the economy's measurements don't have to wait for the data to come from which sector, what. You know overall the GST returns tell you that every small, medium and big business is doing all right if the collection is all right. The collection is not just all right, it is doing very well. And now after the election, the way in which the BJP's Sankalp Patra is already speaking about, further reforms will be taken up. One such a thing, of course, the GST Council will have to take a call, is to look at rationalizing the rates, making it far more simpler, looking at bringing rates reasonably for all goods. Of course, India is a country with wide disparity in income. We can't afford to have people paying the same rate for extreme luxury goods as much as daily essentials. So some common sense logic will have to prevail and people will have to sit in the council and think about it, and I'm sure those activities will happen. But there are opportunity for industry, there are opportunity for MSMEs largely because the way in which we envisage the economy, Indian economy, is even if there is one mother unit, there should be around it a lot of small and other supplementary, what used to be called as ancillary units. We need that ecosystem for every major production. If 6G is going to be rolled out, 5G is successfully rolled out, we need the ecosystem to produce and support these kind of major producing or manufacturing units in India. If 600 or more than that, nearly 1,000 aircrafts are going to be coming into India to join into the civil aviation fleet, the maintenance, the repair and operations of these aircrafts will also need manpower, will also need technical manpower, and their accounting processes will also need your support. So there is ever so many opportunity for businesses to grow. Chartered accountants themselves have so much to update, and I'm glad that Ranjit Kumar Agarwal, the Chartered Accountant President of ICAI, is a very reform-minded person. He's brought in a lot more steps to enable more and more students to qualify. I would only want to underline the fact that we have undertaken signing of MOUs with a lot of countries. With that, mutual recognition of qualifications are completely possible. There can be exchange of professionals between the countries with whom we are signing these MOUs. I'm very convinced that that is going to benefit chartered accountants in a very big way. You're already forming groups to be able to globally work as outsourced centers. There was somebody who received the award and a recognition for running the largest such a outsourcing place. You've set the trend. We are signing it with other countries. Good luck to such people who have taken these initiatives. And very glad to see Rajasthan standing out in this. There were several things that I wanted to talk about. The profession itself, where you're doing a lot of internal introspection on how best the practices can be, how you can make your accounting standards meet up with global standards, and how you can ready all members of the ICAI to be savvy to handle these technology-driven accounting times of our era. I even tell the entire board, the Direct Taxation Board and the CBIC, that the technology that they use is not for technology per se. The technology that they use is an instrument for making life easier. So it should have the right content of what an assessee is looking for. It can't just be technically I've done the job, but the assessee knows that it's not meeting his requirements. The chartered accountant knows that it is not up to the mark. So I always tell the boards that if they do have their own expertise, or if they're commissioning an agency to do the work of getting the technology for them, it should be suffused with people from the profession, from the chartered accountants, from the cost accountants, to come and assess if it is going to adapt to the requirements, so that compliance becomes not complicated but simple. So more and more chartered accountants and their engagement with the boards, I would think, will make systems easier. It will make life easier for taxpayers. It will make it a lot more savvy for the profession to say, today I'm giving my knowledge component, but the monotony of my job is taken away because of technology coming in. So in summary, that is exactly what I want to say to you. And this is what the Prime Minister is hoping, that India will be knowledge-driven. Areas like tourism, particularly standing in Rajasthan, which stands out for tourism, will be one of those big job-giving areas. A lot of emphasis has been given in the manifesto for youth, for tourism, for technology-driven growth, for artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, so that we are able to bring greater transparency into the processes and decision-making. So with these words, knowing that there is an interaction, I will not take too much time for a monologue. I leave it for you all to have the interaction conducted so I can respond to some of your questions. Thank you very much.